Thanks for tuning in to our bonus episode preview. This is just a short sample of this week's exclusive Patreon episode. You can hear the episode in its entirety by becoming a member at patreon.com/IndoctriNation, where you'll gain access to all of our exclusive episodes and merchandise. Hi, thank you so much to all of you, our Patreon supporters. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It is so lovely to have your support. And as a gift to you, I have another bonus episode. I get asked a lot about the following. What do I do if I run into people who were involved in the same group, people who might still be in it after I've left? What do I do if I run into the person who was controlling me, who was abusing me? What do I do if I find out that there are people who live in my town suddenly who were involved in the same group or might still be in the same group? What do I do if I run into my family that had been so controlling of me and manipulative and or abusive? And I think one of the things that people are really wanting to know is, how do I handle that interchange? How can I make sure that it doesn't leave me devastated, that it doesn't leave me feeling scared that now they know where I am and they are able to still get under my skin? How do I handle that interchange also without getting so angry, and also without feeling like I need to somehow explain my life to them and why I've left and how I'm doing and answer all their questions? And how do I also handle that moment without succumbing to the pressure that they might exert on me to come back to them, come back to that group, come back into that relationship? There are a lot of people who maintain a certain level of control over people emotionally. Even after people have left them, they still know that if they hear that person's voice, if they hear some of the manipulative tactics, that they think they're just going to be drawn back in, or they think that they're going to be made to feel suddenly so afraid of living their life without this level of control. Like, if their life doesn't really look so good yet, maybe people who have left are sleeping on people's couches, which very often happens, and there's no shame about it. It often happens that when people leave these kinds of situations, they're left with nothing. And so then if you run into people from some organization or family system, whomever it is, and you feel like your life is kind of in shambles, then will you be more able to be coerced to come back into the fold? Will you also be fodder for being treated like you are a self-fulfilling prophecy? Meaning that there are most groups and most, I think, abusive relationships where they will say that you will really have nothing after you leave. And you will never find love again, or you will never find the answers, and you will never have success. And so far, that's been true. And you don't want to prove them right about this prophecy. And you also don't want to have to reveal to them what your life is like. And sometimes your life is going to look messy because of what they've done to you. But then they're going to put you down for living this life and doing what happens so often in these situations, and they'll add insult to injury. But when people sometimes are faced with needing to look at their lives and report to the people who were controlling them, they think that the people who were controlling them have their lives together in a way that they don't anymore. Because the ones controlling will often come across like they have it all together. That's part of their socialized behavior. They know how to seem like they're on top of their game all the time. And it's really good for people to remember that if they feel like their life is a wreck and they come up against the people or persons who had abused them, taken advantage of them, and they think by comparison, those people are doing much better than them. Maybe, but probably not. They just know how to have an outward persona that makes it seem like everything's just great. There are a number of people also who will tell me that their issue isn't what do I do when I run into people or if I run into people, but what do I do now that I am feeling agoraphobic, that I am worried about ever leaving my house? I'm so worried about who I'm going to run into that I actually don't ever take the chance that that's going to happen, and I don't leave the premises. And it's also true that within certain cultic groups like Scientology, they will sometimes have people patrolling out in front of your house, and they will be intimidating you, and it might feel actually too scary to really leave. I have found that a lot of people who have gotten the courage to leave do find that they are still feeling really avoidant. They are hoping that if they see someone coming down the street who they recognize from the group, that they'll be able to duck behind a bush or behind a building or cross the street and not actually have to have any kind of interaction. There are people also who will ask me, should I move? Should I stop renting where I'm renting? Should I sell my house so I can leave this town that is overrun by these people I'm trying to avoid? So let's go into what people can do if they do run into people who they've been trying to avoid.